We now live in very, very interesting times. Uh, some of you are, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the fiasco between Ten Hag and Sancho, aka Scamcho. So after the 3-1 loss to Arsenal at the Emirates, Ten Hag had a long list of reasons why he lost to Arsenal. We know those reasons were actually not reasonable reasons. He was just being emotional after a loss. So I will excuse that. Then he spoke about, he was asked why Sancho was not in the squad, and he said because of his training. I'm just paraphrasing. And I think an hour later, Sancho decided to respond via social media saying you shouldn't believe everything you read. I find it very ludicrous because I've seen for the last 2 days few United accounts defend Sancho, saying the manager should have called him out publicly. I understand that, but who's the boss? Now, if the manager should call him out publicly, was this not the same manager that excused him for 3 months to go to the wilderness to rehabilitate? I think he went to Netherlands. He was excused out of the squad to rehabilitate, to get himself back in top shape and come back. What I say, manager, you cannot tell me Ten Hag, regardless of the satire, calling him the bald one, has not been generous to Sancho. Let's be fair. Come on, let's be very fair. Ten Hag for me has been generous to Sancho. I just think Sancho comes to a generation of youth weak, extremely weak men who can only take praises but can't take constructive criticism. And if you ask my opinion objectively, I don't think Sancho should be playing for Man U. He's not at the required level. Like I've seen him play several times. This guy is a scam. He's not as good as the English media and some of the Man U fans who are beginning to come to realization that Sancho is not as good as most of you are projecting him to be. He is not that great on the ball, off the ball, pace wise, average, skills, average. The German league is not as intense, it's not as quick, it's not as competitive as the English Premiership. There's a reason why he was triumphant at the German league. He comes back to English because he left from Man City to Dortmund, right? Because he couldn't get game time at Man City. He decided to go to Dortmund. He did well at that level in Germany. Comes back to England. It shows that he can't cut it. See, there is no amount of rehabilitation or training. Is who he is. He is not a top-notch winger, left or right. He is not. He's bang. Sorry, I won't say for the English level, he's average. Now for the German level or maybe for the French level, he might be decent. But for England, he's average. What Ten Hag wants from him, he can't get, and that's actually frustrated Ten Hag. Now I understand the fact that Ten Hag should understand will the modern player is very soft mentally that can't take criticisms. They can't. We live in a woke world these days that we have people supporting Sancho. Like, forgetting that this same manager showed him grace and he has not repaid that grace by getting better. For me, Ten Hag, you have just understood that Sancho is not at that level. He's not. You can't give what you don't have. How? You can't do it. It doesn't cut it. All this nonsense statement that he would do, no matter the training, he doesn't train well, he can't play well. I saw some excuses that some players don't train well. And see, Hazard didn't train well, but on a match day, he did exceptional things for Chelsea. Tevez didn't train well, but on match days he was exceptional, right? So if you don't train well, but if on match days you give in 8/10, managers will not complain. But you cannot train well. Then when it comes to the match day, you're still a bomb. That is when managers will be furious. And I'm sure, see, Ten Hag, if I'm not in Manchester United, if I can be objective, Ten Hag for me has been very gracious. Excuse me. I've been very gracious and very benevolent, extremely benevolent to Sancho. And Sancho is taking it for granted. He has. So it's interesting to see how this will pan out. Will Ten Hag be gracious to reintegrate him to the team, or will he actually uh, force Sancho out of the club? Because it's looking like who's going to win this battle? Most of the time, the managers win. Most of the time. Now, I'm not saying sometimes players Except if you're a big enough player, that's a different case. You don't expect the hierarchy of Man U to choose Sancho over Ten Hag, especially when Sancho hasn't done anything tangible. Nothing tangible in his time at Man U. Not what game has Sancho stood out? None. None. He has been given several chances. He hasn't improved because he's not just good. He's not as good as a lot of people want him to be, unfortunately. So it's just funny that some of these uh, pundits and content creators are pitching their tents with Sancho, which is ridiculous because Ten Hag picks the team. You will not support insubordination. This is crazy. It's like supporting subordination. I understand some of you are going and hiding under the fact that you shouldn't have thrown out the balls publicly. But Ten Hag has given so much grace publicly too. And I'm sure he's frustrated. I do not agree because why don't I agree that you should have done that in a sense was because of the softness of this new woke world we live in. Why you can't criticize your players these days? You have to be very soft with your players. How masculinity has fallen. Players need to be spoken to like women. This is ridiculous. This is not to say women should be spoken to in certain way because some of you take my word out of context. Do not play that nonsense game with me. I'm saying, as a man, right? Hold your coldness. You need to be spoken to sometimes like a man. It is what it is. If you can take the praise, you can take the criticisms. The fact that most of you these days, you only want to take the praise, you don't want to take the criticism. I mean, constructive, corrective criticisms. You don't take it. All you want is just the praise. Let me know what you think about the situation regarding Sancho and Ten Hag. Leave it in the comment section respectfully. Like, share, subscribe, very important. Like the video, subscribe if you're new or you've not subscribed, and make sure you turn on the notification bells. And I will be seeing you guys on the next one. Ciao.